When we drew on the board with T-squares and triangles, we would often draw light lines that were easily erased, and we called them construction lines or projection lines. Now, AutoCAD has an object type that will help you do this. Now, you can always use a regular line, but there are tools that are meant to be used in this way. And a lot of the times, if not the majority of the times, the line command will do exactly what you want it to do or need it to do in this case. But I want to talk about these lines. The commands are called construction lines and rays. Now, they both work almost exactly the same way. Essentially, AutoCAD is drawing a line with a length that's equal to infinity. That means it extends forever, essentially. Construction lines extend in both directions to infinity. An array has a starting point and extends to infinity from there. Both are found in the Home tab. So if you go to the Home tab on your ribbon, go to Draw, you can find them right here. This is the construction line command. This is the ray command. Now, for me, most of the time, I'm typing in the command name for these. So for array, type in the word ray, press enter, pick your first point, then you can see my line goes to infinity. And once you start, it holds that first point, and you can just keep drawing as many of these as you want. Press enter or escape or right click to finish. So if I zoom out and zoom out and zoom out like I'm doing, you can see these lines go on forever. Neither of these drawing objects affect your drawing area extents, and both can be drawn in three-dimensional space. And they can be a great tool for projecting lines when you're trying to create 3D models. I'm going to erase them. I'm going to show you the construction line. Now, to start that command, you just type in XL or X line. Click your first point. Then as you can see, it works just the same way as the ray command, only the line goes on forever in both directions. And I can keep drawing these lines. Now let's say I have other objects and I want to use the trim command. I can select my rectangle to trim, and I can just trim these just as you would any other line. Once you trim both ends or break both ends of a construction line, it becomes a line object. Now if you have a ray, you select it, see the object is called a ray. And if you break it or trim it, that leftover object becomes a line. And if you have broken it, then what's left is still a ray. Let's open up one of our example files here. Let's look at the constructionlines.dwg file. I'm going to show you a great use of construction lines. What I have here is the start of an isometric drawing. I have the front view and I have the side view. Now let's complete this drawing. So I'm going to use the ray command, press enter. I'm going to click down here right in this corner, and I'm going to draw the line at a 45-degree angle. So when you draw with these objects, they work just like drawing the regular line command. So I can press tab, and now I'm typing in 45. So now I have a 45-degree angle. Now this is called projection drawing. And whenever I make a projection view or I project my view, I draw a 45-degree line right here from the corner, and I can extend these lines up, and then where they hit this line, I can go to the opposite direction to help me create my view. So I'm going to use rays and construction lines to help me with this. So if I click on a point and I need to know where it needs to go, you can see I have my auto snap tracking on. So it helps me to draw it straight up and down. Or if I use my construction line, I can click here, then come down, make it perpendicular or parallel, whatever I need to do. Now I can extend these lines here, and as I project to the left, I get where my top view is going to have to be. Now you can also copy these items. And when working in an environment like this, that makes it very simple to draw all of my lines that I need. Now if I use the trim command, I can start cleaning this thing up. I can also match properties now for my center lines. And I can start trimming up this side as well. Let's use my match properties again. Get everything on the right layer. Now we see here that this is a dashed line. So that means there's a little cutout. And since there's a center line here, that tells me there's a little circle going on. So I'm going to start the circle command. I'm going to snap to right here and to right there. So I missed this line. So we see here in our top view, we have the edges of our objects here and here. We got those from using the construction lines and rays, projecting it up to the top. So this is our top view. This is our front view, and this is our side view. So our side view is nearly complete. Actually, let's break it down to there. I just need to get the little slot for this circle, even though it's not really a circle. What I'm going to do here is start the ray command, and I'm going to draw it clicking here with my O snaps, and this is where it's going to go. So I'm going to erase this line. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to use the trim command because I can trim to these two lines. So I'm going to trim my circle. I'm going to trim that box right there. Now I can also trim these lines here. If I use this as my trimming edge, I can trim those. Makes it a little bit easier. And if I turn on F8, turn on my ortho command, it makes sure that I draw these rays or construction lines, whatever the case they are, in a straight line. Now I'm going to trim again. I'm going to do several trims at once. I'm going to trim these guys here, and I want to trim this here as well. You can see I'm trimming. Now I'm going to match properties. Make sure I get this. So I've essentially created the basics here of the rest of my top and side views using rays and construction lines. Now, when do you use a ray over a construction line? That's kind of up to you. A lot of times you can start with the ray command at a specific point so that you don't have to trim it on both sides. Sometimes you don't know where you need to trim it at on either side though. So when you have that circumstance, use a construction line. Most of the time though, either one's going to serve your purpose. But as you can see here, I didn't have to measure. I used basic drafting techniques with AutoCAD tools to create my other views of my object here.